Hi guys and welcome. Today we're going to be taking a look at how to import international language keyboards on the iPad and the Mac. Let's get started. Okay, so let's first take a look at the iPad. Head on over to any app that allows you to use the keyboard like Keynote or Pages, and in the bottom left corner you should see that globe symbol. In there you'll have a list of all the keyboards that you already have, but you'll also be able to access your keyboard settings. If you can't see that little globe option, not to worry, just head on over to settings, go to general, and at the top you'll have the keyboard option. Tap on keyboards and you should get this option to add new keyboards. If I tap on that, I'll get a list of national languages, state languages here. Keep scrolling down, I'll get a country list of languages. So I'm going to add Spanish and French to my list of keyboards. There's no search bar unfortunately, so I have to scroll down, and Spanish should be somewhere around here. There. Okay. So once I've got them added, I can head back on over to Keynote and I can start trying them out. I'm just going to tap on some text and head on to the globe, and now you can see Spanish and French has been added to my list of keyboards. So if I enable Spanish, I can now try and use the symbols to add accents. So to N I can add an accent to N, and most vowel sounds I should be able to add an accent. The N with the squiggly line on top is on the right hand side over by the return button. And then once I'm done with that, I can quickly switch on over to another language. I can just tap and hold the globe, and then now I'm on a French keyboard. You'll notice it's not a QWERTY keyboard, it's a AZERTY keyboard. And all I need to do to get these is just hold down that symbol. So I'm tapping and holding A to get those accents. If you want to switch your keyboard style, just head back over to keyboard settings again. And if I click on the language, so French, instead of having accented AZERTY, I want accented QWERTY. And now I can head back over and restart my keyboard. Just close it down and open it back up again. And there you go, I've got QWERTY keyboard, and I've got access to those French accents as well. I can also add a range of Hindi and Marathi keyboards. Again, I can just go to keyboard settings and look for them. Add new keyboard, and I've got Hindi here. And I've got an option to have English symbols that translate into Hindi, or I can just have directly Hindi symbols. I can also scroll down for my state language, and we're going to use Marathi, and that can be added to my keyboards as well. So now if I head back over to Keynote, I should be able to open up my keyboard and I'll have those options added. Great. I've got Marathi, Hindi, and I've got Hindi, English to Hindi there. And this one just keeps it as the QWERTY keyboard, but if I type in Hindi, say aap kaise ho, I should be able to get the Hindi word translated. Not sure which one is kaise, the correct spelling, or in Hindi symbols, so I'll leave that one. Let's try ho. Hey. Yeah, and you can see at the top bar there I've got a few options there, which I'm not sure about. I will show you Marathi, but my Marathi is even worse than my Hindi. But yeah, you can just tap on text and then head on to the globe, and then you can access Marathi there. But that's all symbols. But yeah, very simple. You've got those access to those settings, and your children can start, or your students can start typing in the classes on a Keynote or any sort of app browser that they're using in your lessons. That's it for iPad. Let's take a look at MacBook. So if your students are using a MacBook, they just need to come to Settings or System Preferences, either at the bottom, or click on the little apple and open System Preferences. So they get here, they need to find the keyboard option and just click on that. And at the top, they should be able to get this option called Input Sources. So the input sources for your keyboard. And if they press the little plus here, they should be able to add in any keyboard that they need. So let's try Spanish, and we've got different options here, ISO. If you look down at the keyboard here, you should be able to see where those symbols are going to be. A little bit different from the iPad options, but depending on what you're more comfortable with or what's easier for you, where you want those symbols to be, you can choose accordingly. So I'm just going to add this Spanish one here. Once I've selected my keyboard, tap Add, and then it should come up in the list of my input sources. I also want to make sure that it shows up in the menu bar, although on the newer version of Mac OS it's not actually showing. So you turn it on, but we'll show you another way through keyboard shortcuts how to switch keyboards. You can also add your Marathi, Hindi and French keyboards exactly the same way. Just search them in the bar at the bottom, and again you can scroll through the options here to see which keyboard you think will be most appropriate for your sessions. I wouldn't recommend having more than one keyboard because it gets a little bit tricky to switch between them using the keyboard shortcuts. So just have your ABC and then one other input source. Press the minus button here to get rid of any additional languages, and then you're good to go to start typing. We did add the options to our menu bar at the top here, but actually you can't see the ABC option at the top here. So if you don't see that option, we're going to use the keyboard shortcuts. So if I open up notes here and just create a new note, and we'll type something in, we're going to press Control and space, and that will flick us over to the next keyboard input. So if I type here, I then will be able to use the keyboard shortcuts and get the N and the C there, and then press Control and space to switch back to your original one. It can be a bit tricky to know where the symbols are, so it's good to make sure you know which keyboard you're using and where the symbols are, and having a quick refer back to it if you need to. Like I said, it's probably easier just to have two languages inputs at a time, so it's easier to switch over using the Control and space keyboard shortcuts. But if you do need to stack up more than two, you can use the Control option and space option to go on to the next one, and then Control space to go backwards. And that's it. That's how you add keyboards to iPad and Mac. It's a bit more tricky on the Mac than it is to iPad, but let us know if you have any questions and we'll be more than happy to help. Thanks again. Cheers.